The rain outside Seattle looked like thin silver wires sliding down the glass walls of the conference room. From my seat at the far end of the long walnut table, I could see the Space Needle through the fog. It felt 1,000 miles away. Dad sat at the head of the table, a steaming mug of black coffee in front of him, flipping through a glossy pitch deck. My brother, Ethan, leaned forward, elbows on the table, talking fast, all confidence and charm. They were discussing our next big AI project, except it wasn't ours. It was mine. Every line of code, every late night, every experiment run in my tiny apartment, I recognized it all on Ethan's laptop screen. Dad didn't even glance my way when he said, "Avery, this is a serious venture. You wouldn't understand the scale." Ethan gave me that sideways smile he'd perfected since high school, the kind that said you're cute for trying. "You should stick to your little prototypes. Let us handle the real moves." I closed my notebook slowly, careful not to let my hands shake. "The thing about real moves," I said, keeping my voice even, "is that the people making them usually know what they are talking about." Dad's jaw tightened. Ethan chuckled under his breath like I just told a joke I didn't understand. I didn't argue, not here, not now. I just let them think they'd shut me out, because I'd already decided. This would be the last time they underestimated me and got away with it. 2 weeks later, I was standing under a blaze of stage lights in San Francisco, the kind that made the air feel 10 degrees hotter. The MC's voice rang through the auditorium. "The National Quantum Security Innovation Award goes to Avery Cole." Applause burst around me as I walked across the stage, my black heels clicking against polished hardwood. The crystal award felt cool in my hands, the engraved letters catching the light. Instinctively, my eyes went to the section of seats reserved for my family. Empty, just like they had been at every milestone that mattered to me. For a moment, the applause sounded far away, like I was underwater. I forced a smile for the camera, because that's what you do when the people who should be proud aren't there to see it. I stepped off the stage into the hum of networking chatter. That's when my phone buzzed. The number was unfamiliar Denver area code. "MS, Cole, this is Martin Hale, managing partner at Maverick Capital. We've been following your work. My partners and I are prepared to invest $15 million to bring your technology to market. If you're ready to talk, we're ready to move fast." $15 million. I pressed the phone closer to my ear, my mind racing. I could almost see Ethan's smirk fading, Dad's dismissive tone evaporating. "I'm ready," I said, my voice steady. "Tell me where to meet you." When the call ended, I stood there for a moment in the middle of the crowd, the award still in my left hand. For the first time in years, the weight I felt wasn't from being underestimated. It was the weight of a door swinging wide open. They didn't know it yet, but everything had just changed. 3 days after that call, I was on a flight to Denver. The sky outside the window looked like it had been painted in steel and ash, fitting for the kind of meeting I was about to have. Harper Vance was waiting for me in the corner office of a high-rise, the Rockies jagged and snow-tipped behind him. Mid-50s, sharp suit, eyes that scanned you once and knew exactly how far you were willing to go. I laid it all out. My invention, the investment offer, and my family. The way helping manage in their vocabulary meant taking over. How family asset was code for we get it, you don't. Harper leaned back, steepling his fingers. "If you want this protected, truly protected, you don't keep it in your name. We create a tech irrevocable trust. The trust owns the patent, the trademarks, the licensing rights. And you, Avery, will be the sole trustee." "Sole trustee," I repeated, letting the words settle. Which means not even you can pull it back into your personal name without the trust's terms being met. It's off public record, completely out of their reach. The finality in his voice was like the click of a deadbolt. What followed was a blur. Signatures under the glare of desk lamps, patent transfers notarized in triplicate, the formation of a holding company with a name no one in my family would recognize. Every file was duplicated and stored in a safe deposit box across the country. I even changed the name of my core algorithm in the registry, from Cole Secure to a string of meaningless letters and numbers. One night, back in my Seattle apartment, I sat at my kitchen table with a single key in my palm, the key to the safe deposit box. I thought about the look on Ethan's face when he realized there was no door to kick down. If you want to keep something safe, you don't build a wall they can see. You build one they'll never even find. It started with a text from Ethan. Swinging by your lab tomorrow. Got something exciting to discuss. Exciting, in Ethan speak, usually meant trouble dressed in a suit. The next afternoon, the elevator doors slid open to reveal Ethan and Dad, both in tailored jackets, both wearing the same confident smirk. Dad was holding a slim leather portfolio. They didn't bother with small talk. Ethan dropped the folder on my desk, the papers inside fanning slightly. This is going to make everything easier. We'll restructure the IP into a family corporation, 3 equal partners. You, me, Dad. We can bring in investors under the Cole name. I picked up the top sheet. It looked official, county stamp, signatures, notary seal in blue ink, but the font on the header was wrong. The notary number was incomplete, and one of the signatures, well, let's just say my name doesn't curl like that. Dad leaned forward, resting both palms on the desk. Avery, this is for the good of the family. We don't want you tangled up in legal nonsense later. Just sign here and it's all buttoned up. Ethan's smile widened like he'd already won. You'll thank us later. I set the paper down slowly like it might shatter. I understand. That was all I said. No argument, no raised voice. Because in that moment they thought they'd planted their flag, and I wanted them to believe that for just a little longer. The hearing room smelled faintly of varnished wood and stale coffee. Sunlight spilled in through tall windows, catching in the dust motes above the rows of chairs. Ethan and Dad sat at the petitioner's table with their attorney, a slick, fast-talking man in a cobalt tie who clearly thought this was going to be quick work. I took my seat beside Harper Vance, my trust attorney. Calm, unshakable, the kind of calm that usually means someone brought a bigger weapon than you can see. The judge adjusted her glasses. We're here today regarding the petition to transfer partial ownership of the Cole quantum security patent. Ethan's attorney jumped in, his voice smooth. Your Honor, the invention was developed using family resources and should rightfully be integrated into the Cole Family Corporation for equitable benefit. Harper didn't rush. He opened a thick binder, the kind that could double as a doorstop, and slid a document toward the clerk. Respectfully, Your Honor, the patent in question is owned exclusively by the Cole Quantum Trust, an irrevocable trust formed prior to any alleged claims. All intellectual property, licensing rights, and investment agreements were transferred into the trust on April 18th of this year. He tapped a highlighted section on the trust document. Sole trustee, Avery Cole. The judge scanned the page, her brows lifting slightly. Harper wasn't done. He motioned to the projection screen. Lines of code appeared, timestamps, commit logs, server receipts. Every piece of development was coded on Avery Cole's personal hardware, paid for with her personal funds. No family company resources were used. And, he clicked to the next slide, the so-called transfer documents presented by the petitioners contain a false notary seal number, not recognized in any state registry. The judge looked over her glasses at Ethan. Do you understand that submitting falsified documents to this court is a criminal offense? Ethan shifted in his seat. Dad's jaw clenched. Their lawyer suddenly found something very interesting in his notes. The gavel came down once, crisp and final. Petition denied. All rights remain with the trustee. I didn't smile, not here. But inside, I could already feel the ground shifting under their feet, and I wasn't about to let it stop. A week after the hearing, I sat at my kitchen counter with a fresh cup of coffee, the rain tapping against the window like a slow metronome. My phone buzzed an email notification. Subject line, ethics concern, your employee Ethan Cole. From me. I'd spent the last 3 nights assembling the package, the falsified transfer documents, the invalid notary seal verification, the court transcript where the judge called it what it was, and the server logs showing Ethan had attempted to copy segments of my code the week before the hearing. I sent it directly to the Ethics and Compliance Department of Orion Systems, the tech conglomerate where Ethan was CTO. No social media, no warning, just facts and paper trails. 2 days later, I got another email, this one short. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. The matter has been reviewed. Mr. Ethan Cole is no longer employed with Orion Systems. The incident has been forwarded to the state licensing board. By that afternoon, a tech industry blog had picked up the story. CTO terminated after alleged IP misconduct investigation. They didn't use Ethan's name in the headline, but anyone who knew him didn't need it spelled out. I didn't post a thing, didn't send a single gloating text, because the silence that follows a public fall, it's louder than anything I could have said. It didn't take long for the spin machine to start. A week after Ethan's firing, a glossy local business blog ran a story quoting his new attorney. MS. Avery Cole maliciously interfered in my client's career, costing him his livelihood. This was not about protecting intellectual property, this was a vendetta. They even included a photo of Ethan looking solemn, as if he'd been the one blindsided. The article hinted that I had manipulated the legal system, painting me as cold, calculated, dangerous. If they thought that would scare me into silence, they hadn't learned a thing. Harper and I went to work. We compiled a single, indexed file, the trust formation documents, the court's denial of their petition, the invalid notary seal verification, the county fraud warning, and the ethics board's acknowledgement of Ethan's misconduct. Every page was certified, stamped undeniable. I sent it via overnight courier to 3 places. 1, the blog's editorial office. 2, the state licensing board. 3, Orion Systems General Counsel, with a polite note thanking them for their swift action. By the next week, the malicious interference story was gone from the blog site without a trace. No apology, no follow-up, just erased. The licensing board confirmed the evidence would remain permanently on file in Ethan's case record. Then, one quiet Thursday morning, a plain white envelope slid into my mailbox. No logo. Just a Salem law firm's return address. Inside, a single sheet of paper. All claims against Avery Cole are hereby withdrawn. Parties agree to have no further contact except where legally required. No victory speeches, no dramatic phone calls, just the official surrender I'd been waiting for. I slid the letter into my black case file, shut the latch, and set it back on the shelf. Game over. 2 months later, I stood behind the curtain at the Tech Future 2039 conference in San Francisco. The murmur of thousands of attendees filled the air, a low electric hum. Spotlights swept across the stage, catching on the brushed steel podium and the massive screen behind it, where my company's logo now glowed in deep blue. The stage manager gave me a nod. "You're up." I stepped into the light. Applause swelled, cameras flashing like staccato lightning. "Good morning," I began, my voice carrying across the room. "Today, I'm honored to introduce not just a product, but a promise. A promise that your data, your work, and your future will remain yours and no one else's." I unveiled the system, my system, the same one they'd tried to take from me. A live demo rolled on the screen. Instant encryption, quantum-level security, impenetrable. From the stage, I could see the front row, investors, engineers, journalists, all leaning forward. The family section, completely empty, just like every milestone before. But this time it didn't feel hollow. It felt deliberate. Mine. I closed the keynote with the same words my grandfather used to tell me when I was a kid tinkering with circuit boards in his garage. Protect what's worth keeping. The audience rose to their feet, applause crashing like waves. As I walked off stage into the shadows, the weight I carried wasn't about survival anymore. It was about choice, the choice to decide who gets in and who stays out. And that door, it was locked from my side.